Welcome back, everybody, to Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. I'm your host, Philip Meyer, and it's been a while since I've done a podcast because of the whole COVID thing. If you've been following me on Facebook or LinkedIn, you saw I did kind of a little 15-minute episode called The COVID Chronicles. Go back and check that out if you haven't already seen it. But today, we have a very special guest. This is actually my cousin, Julian McFarland. What's up, Julian? How you doing?
What's going on? I'm not bad. I'm excited. Thank you for having me, first and foremost.
Absolutely, man. It's my pleasure. So typically, when I do a podcast, I usually interview like a sales trainer, sales manager, sales rep that's just out there killing it. Maybe like a President's Club or Diamond Club level rep. But today, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast specifically is because you're kind of in the baby steps, or like you're considering a career possibly in sales, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So I know you and I had a conversation about this already over the phone, but for the listeners listening, tell me what brought this about. Like, how did you get wrapped up in the whole sales gig, and what is it that makes you consider it?
So I have a longtime friend from high school. We played sports together, and we've just stayed in touch since then. And he reached out to me because his older brother presented him with an opportunity, and he wanted to bring some of his close friends in because, we all like to work hard. We all want to achieve our goals and whatnot.
Sure.
And he said that this is an amazing opportunity. His brother's already gone through it for a few years, and he's really loving it, and he wants to give that networking experience out. And networking is one thing that is very important to me. And before the money and all that, I just want to, get my feet into the waters where I know I have people around me that have contacts and know what they're doing and know how to sell themselves, because that's what you need to do no matter what job you have.
Sure. Absolutely.
And it just sounds like a new experience, and it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. And I know that you would be the perfect man to help me with that. So that's why I had to reach out to you.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely appreciate that. And one of the things I really want people to take away from this episode is you're not a stranger to me. I mean, you're my family, right? So there was a long time ago, like somebody, there was a rep who actually came on with the same company that I work for, and was actually asking one of the other reps, if I was your daughter, would you tell me to work here? Right. And I thought that was so profound, because I'm like, I never thought of it that way, because I've got an 8-year-old daughter, Anastasia, and one day she might come to me with the same question that maybe you have, right? About, Dad, maybe I'm thinking about getting into sales as a career. Maybe I want to do that the rest of my life, or maybe I just want to try it out. So that having said that, you can rest assured, if you're listening to this podcast and you think I'm just full of crap, I'm blowing smoke, Julian's my cousin. Okay. Like I'm not going to lie to him about anything that has to do with the sales game. I'm going to be totally honest with him. And that being said, if you want to get into sales, just know you got a mentor in me. Okay. I'll help you out. If you ever want to talk shop and your mom's like, leave me alone, I don't care about your about the ins and outs, the details that go into selling stuff, dude, hit me up, because I can talk about that for days. Heck, I started a podcast about it. So there you go. I should tell you something.
Exactly.
So tell me, don't mention the company name, but you can tell me kind of like what's the industry? What would you be selling?
I would be selling a pest control service. So it would be a door-to-door salesman service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was it that kind of incentivized you to maybe look at this opportunity? Was it just the fact that your friend was doing it? Was it the money? Is it the freedom?
It's kind of everything about it. The way that they've told me it works and the way they've kind of pitched it to me, just the freedom of going out there and being like, I can get 100 no's today, but I'm going to get a certain amount of yeses, and just having that freedom of, not being restricted, or, they're just out, they send you out there and they're like, if you want to go get it, go get it. And I think that's the thing that incentivized me the most is I like to be given, you know, what I'm supposed to do, and then just set free to do as much possible, you know,
Sure.
get as much work done as possible.
Absolutely. Well, one of the parallels that I see with you in your life, and I was going to talk to you about this last time too, but um, is you were an athlete all through high school, right? You played basketball. Did you do anything else? Did you just play basketball, or was that it?
I did basketball and football.
Okay, right. So one of the very common things that I find with salespeople that just come into the sales world and they just start killing it from like the very beginning is that they were already athletes prior, right? Because just
Mhm.
like uh, if you were a 3-point shooter, if you're a better inside the paint, if you were the guy that goes up and dunks everything, if you were the person that had to get better at free throws, you had to practice every single aspect of that job, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like almost at
yeah.
nauseum, right? So
Oh yeah.
where I see people fail in sales, and there's a lot of failure in it, as I'm sure that you probably know, having researched a little bit, is there's a lot of
Yeah.
turnover, right, that happens. And the reason for that is honestly because let's say that you're a basketball player, you come into sales and you forget all the principles that made you great at basketball, like practice, right? Like shooting 1,000 free throws a day, like making sure that your technique was perfect, making sure that you felt the ball, you felt if it was going to be a good shot. You could almost
Hmm.
tell, I'm sure, towards like the end of your basketball time, you could tell once the ball left if it was going to go in or if it wasn't going to go in, right?
Yeah, it becomes a muscle memory. It's something that you practice until it's almost nauseating.
Exactly, right? Now, in basketball, you also had a coach, right?
Hmm.
And I'm sure that coach during practice was just all over you guys and was drilling you, was training you. He probably gave you like a scenario where you guys were down by 10 points. You guys had 2 minutes left in the second half to come back and win, right?
Hmm.
See
Yeah,
now, see now, I didn't play basketball. How do I know that?
it's the same thing. It's the
It's the
same thing in the
same
sales world.
thing, dude. It's the same thing, and it's so funny because there's still salespeople that I meet who are tenured salespeople who don't read sales books, who don't practice at home, who don't talk to other salespeople, who don't network, right?
Hmm.
So it goes back to that muscle memory, right? So as far as the freedom goes, that's one of two reasons why people get into sales is they get into sales because they want a lot of freedom and they also want to make a lot of money, right?
Yeah,
Because commission, baby, that's what it's all about, right? If you sell something,
exactly.
you get paid
That's
straight
the
up.
name of the game.
Hell yes, it is, right? So, I mean, that's the reason I'm in it, right? Is because I didn't want to sit down at a desk and look at a computer screen all day long and write up emails and send out the emails and go out and run for coffee and come back. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to be outside. I wanted to go talk to people, right? So
Hmm.
with that, but with that freedom can also come kind of a trap, right? So what I mean by that is you get a lot of freedom, and because the leash is let off, you start having a little bit of success, and then you forget what led to that level, and you just stop
Hmm.
doing it completely. And then it's very,
Exactly.
very, very tough to come back from that, right? So
Hmm.
uh, now this is kind of a unique opportunity in that you would be relocating to Tampa, Florida for like 3 months, right?
3 4 months. Yeah, it would be for the summer.
Okay. So tell me more about that. Like what did they tell you about the job? Have you talked to somebody that's done the job for a long time? Like what type of research have you done into this opportunity?
Yeah. So the one who presented the opportunity to me, my friend, he has an older brother that's been doing it for this would be his third year, this next year coming up, and he's been doing it with his roommates. And I went and I saw their house and the way that they've been living since they've been doing it, and they've completely changed their lives. And they were um, well-rounded guys to begin with, you know,
Mhm.
and they just took it to a completely different level. And I mean, as bad to me as it sounds, money is the main thing that I want, you know. I want to be able to let my mom retire early and be like, I got you. I'll
There's
take care of you.
there's nothing wrong with money, man. Nothing wrong with
Exactly.
it.
And yeah, so I've been talking to my friend's older brother. His name's Kenny. And I've been talking to Kenny a lot, just, trying to get as much as I can from him, like personal experiences, not really like, oh, I've been doing this with the company and they've been giving me this. Like, what have you gone through, like good and really bad? Uh, I've had some, not a lot, but some email contact with the owner of the company. Trying to get more logistics and like how I'll be paid, so I can continue my car payment and whatnot.
Sure.
It's yeah, that's about it. It's a lot that I still haven't found out about, but yeah, I'm definitely just scratching the surface on this opportunity.
Gotcha. Um, yeah, I mean, I know I put you in touch with my, not sure what he is. Let's just say he's my friend. So
Yeah.
my friend Chad, right? Did you have a chance to reach out to him? Did you talk to him already?
I reached out to him. We didn't get in touch, but I'm still hoping to give him a call soon.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so Chad actually did that for a long time. And one of the comments that he had made to me, which was really cool, is he goes, it's so weird because when I go out to these places or these other states and I go and I sell a ton, I make a ton of money in like 3 months, it's weird to me to sit next to somebody that's in a suit. I'm probably totally going to butcher his quote. So Chad, if you're watching this, I apologize. Um, but he said it's weird to sit in first class coming back from that and thinking my life is so weird, right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people will look at that opportunity and go, that sounds kind of shady because you're going to go over to this state for 3 months. But it's actually a very common thing, especially with pest control, right? And a lot of these guys too, I know 2 people that have done this who have gone over different states, they've sold, they've made a ton of money, they've done it for a couple years, and they realize that because of the grind, it's not a sustainable thing long term, right? So what they do is they come back and actually start their own pest control company and follow that same model, and they actually make a ton of money doing that, right? So
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the other benefit I would tell you is that when you're in sales, especially when you're doing door to door, because literally, and a lot of people are going to argue with me on this, just know I'm not going to change my mind. So don't comment. I don't care. Okay. But door to door residential sales is the hardest sales job in the world. It's very hard, right? The reason I say that to you is because like what I do is business to business. Like I walk into a business office, I go talk to the receptionist. I try to bypass the receptionist to get to the business owner or even to the CEO if it's a large enough company, and then I get delegated from there, right?
Yeah.
And some people go, oh, well, that's terrifying. I'd rather talk to Sally, who's home with her 3 kids and her husband's at work. It's less threatening. To me, that's more threatening because when you live in a house, you don't expect somebody to come to your door, knock on your door and say, hey, would you like to buy pest control? Right?
Yeah.
If you're in a business, you kind of expect vendors to come into your business and try to sell to you because that's part of doing business.
Exactly.
Kind of makes sense, right?
Definitely.
So you'll probably have a different experience, and you'll probably come back and go, yeah, my cousin's full of crap. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But have you talked to any other salespeople that you know? Like, I mean, is there any friends from high school or friends from work that have been in sales? Because you work at a like inventory for a dealership, right?
I have a lot of salesman friends at my car dealership, and I have a roommate that was also a car salesman for a while.
Okay.
And yeah, and I mean, he was super good at it. He can talk to anybody, can get on anybody's level, and just bring them up to a very uh, happy place. He's very enjoyable to be around.
Sure.
And yeah, I've talked to all of them, and it kind of seems like one of those things where if you can be relatable and not really be a salesman, but kind of be a person,
Sure.
it's way easier to connect with people. And, there's going to be people that just don't want to talk to you at all. So that's definitely part of it. But you just got to find those people that are looking for what you're selling.
Right.
And that's basically the core of what I've gotten from it. You gotta find who you're selling to. You
Yep.
gotta, pick that needle out of the haystack.
Yep. Absolutely. One of my first one of my first sales managers that I ever worked for, shout out to Jason Guyer. I really got to have him on the podcast. I feel like I talk about him almost every episode. But Jason told me something in the first couple of weeks I was in training. He said, imagine this, okay? Because what you're thinking about is you're thinking about finding the business that's going to need your services, right? And he goes, but when you look at your year as a salesperson, you look at the commission that you got, take that number and divide it by the number of doors that you actually hit, number of businesses you actually went to, and calculate how much is each door worth to me, right? Because let's say that like each door to you is worth $2, okay, like on the lower end. So $2.
Yeah.
So every single door that you go to is $2 in your pocket. How many doors would you go to in a day?
At thousands.
Thousands, right? I mean, you probably wouldn't sleep. You would just keep working, right? You take like a 10-minute power nap at midnight, and then you just keep going. You keep on hitting doors, right? That's the concept, right? Is that people look at it from a different way. They go, oh, well, I'm just going to go to this house because this house looks nice, right? Or I'm not going to go to that door because that door said no soliciting, right? That is my favorite sign, because that means that all the other little rookie sales reps who don't know their ass from their elbow are going to look at that sign and go, oh, I'm not going to hit that door. I'm going to leave that one alone. That's why I go to that door and I go, hey, how's it going? I'll walk right in and go, hey, how's it going? I'm Philip Meyer with Uniforce Corporation. They go, did you read the sign? I'm like, yeah. What did it say? It said open. And they go, no, the other sign, the no soliciting sign. Oh, yeah, I saw that. I go, well, I mean, yeah, we don't take salespeople here. Cool, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a consultant. So there's ways around it, right? You'll learn different things, right? Have they talked to you at all about like the sales training, like what goes into that?
Yeah, I'm not in it yet, but the process that they told me is it starts just at the end of February is when they're going to start kind of bringing people together and giving out little trainings and booklets and, making them watch YouTube videos and this and that. And then at the beginning of April, I think or it might be May when we go out there, but it's like end of February to April or May is mostly like the training. And then they have you go out there and I think there's probably a little bit more training once you get out there because everyone's in the same location. But yeah, the core of it will be over like a few months, like group meetings, stuff like that.
Gotcha. So that's super important, right? Because I mean, I can't talk at all today. Sales training, I was trying to get out before I had a stroke, is literally one of the most important parts of your job, right? Because you could have a guy, there's a lot of sales companies that are like this. They go, all right, kid, read this 2-page pamphlet, sink or swim, go forth and make your fortune, right?
Yeah.
When really they're not really coaching you and really teaching you what to do, right? Because sales, like anything else, is a skill. And the more skilled your mentor is, the more skilled your coach is, that combined with your work ethic, that's going to give you the success, right? So I would say they're probably going to give you a script, right? It's going to be a big part of your life if you're a salesperson.
They did mention the script, yes.
Yep, there you go, right? And scripts, by the way, are ever changing. They will change every year, maybe every quarter, right? You might have multiple scripts that you have to learn, right? And they'll probably make you, I'm going to say the 2 words that all salespeople hate. Are you ready for it?
We're ready.
Role play. Dun, dun, dun. Dude, salespeople hate to role play. They hate it. I actually wrote an article on LinkedIn. If you want to go check it out, it's titled "The Dreaded Role Play." Right?
I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah. The reason people hate it though is because let's say I'm your sales manager, right? And I give you a script, and I say memorize this verbatim. You have 1 week, okay? And you come back in a week, and I go, okay, let's go. Hit me with it. Now there's pressure, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get this word right. The only reason there's pressure is because I know what you're supposed to say, right?
Yeah.
But a customer, they have no clue what you're gonna say, no clue, right? It's like in basketball when you had a play that you had to memorize, and you practiced that play because you knew if you practiced that play and your team had this cohesion, they had this. This is probably not a word, but like a synchronicity. You know what? If it's not a word,
synchronization.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
No problem.
Perfect. So if they had that, then you knew at the end of the game you're going to win, right? That was the caveat, right? So when you role play, don't get all stressed out because everybody else is going to get stressed out about it. And it's only because everybody else knows what you're supposed to say, and they're all judging you, and they're going, oh, that guy can't memorize a script for anything, right? Yeah. When in reality, you could go out there and just knock it out of the park because people like you and they trust you and they're going to end up buying from you, right? The other part of that is overcoming objections. So, you know what that means? Have you ever heard that term before?
Loosely, yeah. Loosely. I'm not fluent with the term, but I've heard it before.
Okay, let me ask this question. Have you, I probably already know what the answer is because you're a handsome dude, but have you ever gone to a girl, asked her out, and she said no, and you came back again and asked her a different way and she said yes?
Yeah, for like prom and dances and whatnot. Yeah.
There you go. Right? So everyone at some point has come up with a way to overcome objections. Dude, my kids are amazing at it, right? Pretty much all kids are. I'll give you an example. So my daughter, she comes up to me one day. She goes, Daddy, I'm really hungry, but I know it's after lunch. Can I please have a cookie? And I'm like, sweetie, no, you can't have a cookie because you've already eaten. There's no reason for you to have a cookie. Daddy doesn't want to spend $300 at the dentist having to fix your teeth if you get a cavity. So no, you can't have a cookie, right? So she walks away, right? And as she's walking away, I can see the wheels in her head turning. She's like, how can I ask him a different way? So she comes back and she's like, Daddy, remember that cookie I was talking about? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I know it's almost dinner time, but I could really use a cookie right now because I just need a snack. I promise I'll eat all my dinner if you give me the cookie. That's called incentive, right? She's using my tactics against me. So I'm like,
your own flesh and blood.
So then I gave her a counter offer. I said, it's okay, Tazy, look, if you eat all of your dinner and you clean up all your toys on the ground, then I'll give you a cookie, right? So she goes, okay, but I didn't get those toys out. That was Odin. Odin did all that. So I'm gonna clean up my stuff, and then that's still gonna count, right? And I'm like, okay, deal, right? Literally a business transaction that happened with my 7-year-old. Right?
Yeah.
So my point is when you get into these sales trainings, don't overthink it. Let it flow naturally, right? Another mistake that new salespeople make is they go, well, people are going to know it's scripted, and that's not really me. I would never say that. So that's not my personality, right? Which may be true, okay? But when you have a script, and more importantly, you have a boss who's telling you to memorize the script verbatim, don't be that guy that's like, this isn't me, this isn't natural. I'm just gonna blow this off and I'm gonna go try to sell my own way. The reason
Mm.
companies put scripts in place, take a guess. You know why they do that? Why they have scripts?
Oh, because they work.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
after going through years and years of processes and procedures and trial and error, people have realized that there are certain things that work for business and certain things that don't, right?
Mm.
Like in sales, we play a game, right? It's well, I play a game, not we. I'm sure there's other salespeople that have done this, but I like to believe that I created it. Um, so it's a game known as remix, right? So
Mm.
essentially, if I say something, you at any time can say remix, and I immediately have to say the same thing I just said, but in a completely different way.
Okay.
Kind of make sense,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
right? So, for example,
Yeah.
if I said, "Hey, do you want to go see a movie?" You say remix. Would you like to accompany me to go see a film this evening? See, it's different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So in sales, a lot of people get stuck in the whole, "Would you like to buy this?" That's a yes or a no question, right? See, I try not
Yeah.
to ask yes or no questions until the very end, like open-ended questions. And you'll learn more about that. There's a lot of psychology that goes into it, right? But
Uh-huh.
you'll get that in your training. So um, now this is a relatively new company, right? I mean, it's not like a company's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only been around for a number of years. I mean, don't quote me on it, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty new.
Yeah.
That's what they were telling me. It's
Gotcha.
a I'm I'm pretty sure they were telling me it's a dude from Wall Street who was he was working up there,
Hmm.
and he had a partner that was doing sales on the side, and they saw that it was kind of similar. There was kind of similarities between it, and they could take what they learned from Wall Street and just kind of put it into the business. And so that's how they started this company.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So why? I wonder though, and you may not know the answers. I wonder why they got into pest control of all things. Maybe it's just lucrative. Maybe it was something that they they saw they can make money at, or
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I would love to know the whole story. I'm still hoping to meet the head dude behind it. But yeah, it's a super cool thing to hear how they just took everything that they learned from almost a completely different field, you know,
yeah,
and turned it into a whole business. And they're really starting to find their tread.
absolutely. Well, that's awesome, man, dude. I'm super excited for you about it. Well, let me ask you this question though. What do you well better way because I feel like I'm talking too much. I need to ask you more questions. The three things you're excited about and three things you're a little nervous about.
Uh, Three things I'm excited about. I'm super excited to be surrounded by my close friends because the people that I would be out there living with and competing with mainly would be three of my closest friends for 5, 6 years now.
Nice.
And I'm excited. I would be excited to experience a completely different side of the United States. You know, I've been to Miami, but I've never been to Tampa, so that would be super cool. Um,
Yeah, it's a pretty cool
and
place.
yeah, I would be excited to make a lot of money. That would be super exciting. Um,
Absolutely.
Three things I'm nervous about. Um, I still don't know a whole lot about the company and what's going on, so I'm still a little bit hesitant. You know, um, I'm nervous about how much I could produce. You know, I always hold myself to high standards no matter what I'm doing.
Sure.
And no matter what I do, I never meet those standards because I don't want to be comfortable. You know, I always want to get more out of what I'm doing. But that being said, there is a goal that I do like to hit and be like, dope, I hit that goal. Cool. Um, and so I would be nervous to not hit that goal, and then have taken this, big leap and have to kind of reset in a way.
Yeah.
That's, I think the third thing is it's all commission based. So I would really have to put the responsibility all on my back.
Yep.
And that's not something that I have a problem with. Taking responsibility isn't difficult. It's just something that you got to do. And so I think those are my main things. I think I would have more things to be excited about than nervous about. But on that same level, the things that I'm nervous about kind of outweigh, It's like having 3 real big rocks and then a whole bunch of little rocks.
Yeah, I totally get that. There was a time in my career with sales that I thought I wasn't going to do sales anymore. Right. In fact, I didn't want to do sales anymore, because I'd started it like at teaching martial arts and selling that program at 13 years old, and I did that until I was about 21, and then I got married, and then that's when the 2008 2009 recession bubble hit, and basically everybody was getting rid of all their extra activities like martial arts and ballet and all this other stuff, and so they just completely cut it out. And the school I was working at actually closed within like 30 days of that happening. It was crazy, right? So I was like, well, what do I do now, right? And luckily, I had impressed a client of mine who I was teaching his kids martial arts, and he was like, hey, why don't you come over and work for me and just make appointments? So I got really, really good on the phone because we wrote a script together of what to say, how to like overcome objections. And I would spend an hour on the phone with somebody that was ready to invest $500,000 or $1 million into the business, right? Mm-hmm. But the whole time I was doing that, I was actually pursuing something else. I was pursuing a career with law enforcement, of all things, right? And realized after learning some very hard lessons that wasn't meant to be. I wasn't going to go forward with that process anymore. And so after a couple of other sales jobs, I went and worked with Aflac for a while. That was 100% on why can't I talk today, Julian? I don't know what it is.
Usually that's me, so I'm glad it's not, honestly.
But that one was 100% on commission, right? So that was tough, but I learned some very good lessons from that. And that was my first business-to-business, like cold calling opportunity. And I was right about to just throw in the towel and be like, I don't want to do sales. I'm done. This is just a complete grind. And then I got on with UniFirst. And as soon as I did that, it was like the training was like another level. Like I thought I was good, and they were like, nah, kid. Like, let me teach you how to really do this, right? But the reason I've stayed in sales and kind of pushed everything else away is because, number one, jumping back to what you said, is working with your friends is awesome. Like I've made some amazing friends while working in sales, because you kind of develop a brotherhood or a bond that most people don't get, or they don't understand what it takes to go and sign a gigantic deal. I have a friend of mine named Chris Price. Chris, shout out to you, who actually works for my company. He made his last commission check was higher 5 figures. So it was really, really good money, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the benefit to it, is you can make a lot of money in sales. And that's ultimately the reason that I'm in it, right? And a lot of people feel like salespeople is or salesperson is kind of a bad word. Oh, you're a salesperson. Right. I'm like, nah, dude, like a salesperson to me is somebody that solves problems, right? Like right now, like if you were to knock on my door and you work for this pest control company, you're like, hey, I work for pest control. I would grab you by the shirt, pull you in and go, whew, almost broke that. Sorry. I got way too excited and I knocked over my little like side table thing that luckily my water wasn't on there. It's usually there. Like dude, that's going to be in the highlight reel for sure. Anyways.
Oh man.
That scared the hell out of me. So anyways, Like I would grab you by the shirt, I'd pull you in, I'd point to under my oven and go, "There's mice in there. Help me." Right? That's a
Mhm.
problem, right?
Yeah.
And salespeople are kind of the bringers of what a solution could be to that problem, right? That's when you truly sell value. Because if I don't have pests in my house, I don't care how much your program is cheaper than somebody else, how much better you are than somebody else. I don't care because the problem's not real to me, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
essentially, as a door-to-door rep, that's what you're doing. You're looking for the problem,
Yeah.
right? Much like a
Definitely.
doctor is going, "Hey, does this hurt if I push here? How about here? How about there? Oh, okay, that's your problem. So now I can fix it. I can recommend some ideas or solutions in order to help you fix that problem, right?"
Yeah.
So, see, I did it again. I'm talking way too much. You should be the one talking. It's about you, Julian. This isn't about me. Um,
No, I'm trying to hear everything you have to say. I was hyping you up to my roommates. I was like, I'm about to be on a podcast with my cousin. He's like
oh,
a
were you really?
businessman and stuff. Oh yeah,
Oh, sweet. Very cool.
dude, man. I wish I was like you, buff and having
Buff.
a beautiful bride and a nice family.
Oh,
I just
thanks, man. I
I just got
appreciate it.
my I just got my Thor hammer and my Tupac poster.
Hey, you know what, dude? Like, how old are you? You're 20. You're 21, right?
I just turned 22.
Oh, that's right. It was your birthday. Happy birthday, by the way. Your gift is on its way, so
Thank you. I
you'll get that.
appreciate that.
Um, yeah, when I was your age, dude, I was 21, living with my wife's grandparents. You can imagine how that went. Um, no, to be fair, her grandparents were amazing. Grandmother's
Yeah,
still,
I can
still,
imagine.
still amazing. Uh, but dude, like I didn't have really two nickels to rub together, right?
Mm,
So let alone like it was the first time I'd ever lived with somebody besides my parents too, because I got married young. We actually just moved out, so that was a different experience as well. Like,
mm.
yeah. Anyways, so dude, you'll get there though. By the way, you only think I'm buff because you can only see from here up. I don't put on weight here. It's all down there, baby. All down there. All
Nothing wrong
down.
with the dad bod. Dad
No.
bods are in. That's the style, man.
Well, it's tough when you live in Idaho. And I mean, like I've got a nice like gym like in my garage full of mats and a punching bag and like dumbbells and stuff. But when it gets
Mm.
super cold like it is now, it's like 10 degrees outside. Dude, my garage is freezing. So I'm like, nah, I'm
Nah, I'm
cool.
good.
I'm just gonna hibernate, maybe take some extra beef in and you know,
Yeah. Eat some
run some weight.
brownies, enjoy the cold.
Yeah, there you go. Right?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
There's nothing wrong
But
with it at all, man.
yeah, but here's the thing though, too is that with your opportunity, right? You have a unique opportunity to experience kind of like a trial basis, right? Because it's not a
Hmm.
full-time gig for like a full year or 2 years or like it's just for a couple months, right? So that's actually really really cool
Hmm.
because at the end of those 3 months you can decide, yeah, you know what, I like the sales aspect of this, but residential is just not for me.
Yeah.
In which case, and I told you this on the phone, you're in Southern California, dude. That guys, if you're in SoCal and you're listening to this, comment on this YouTube channel, comment on my LinkedIn page right now about what company you work for, how long you've been there, and whether or not they're hiring. Okay, because dude, if you do really well at this and you're like, you know what, I want to go into business to business now and maybe get something that's long term, maybe a way to promote through the company, maybe become a sales
Yeah.
manager or sales trainer one day, dude, those opportunities are out there. I'm telling you, they're out there.
Definitely.
Which is a perfect
That's
time right
the
now to say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I appreciate it. That was like the main thing that I'm also looking forward to. I didn't mention that, but going out there and having my friend's older brother who's done this and his roommates who do this, and they're like they do really well, so they're pretty high up already.
Right,
If even if I didn't like it, I still have those contacts and those dudes, and I know those guys aren't going to be doing that the rest of their lives, so they
right.
could potentially start a business and want to, bring me in. But yeah, I'm super excited just to like see if I like sales or, door to door, you know, just talking to business people or what. It's super exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the coolest part, man. I mean, there like I've heard from just like a handful of different reps over the course of my career that there's been people, in fact, one of them, this just happened to my buddy Nate, who was actually working in Salt Lake City as part of our team. And he actually cold called this company and uh, as a way to try to get in touch with the CEO, because most of the time CEOs are protected, right? They have an executive assistant, they have a whole plethora of people underneath them to stop salespeople from getting to them, right? So he went on LinkedIn, he found this guy's profile, and he found out the guy likes motivational books. So he bought this motivational book, he dropped it off as a gift for him, and wrote in the margin a little personal note. That guy called him and said, I want to offer you a job. Right? Dude,
Yeah.
it happens because it's tough to find good salespeople that stay with the company long enough or that can even make it with that grind. So very, very much we become like a professional athlete in that sense because we get poached, right? We get offered other things. Like because of my podcast, I probably get recruiters that hit me up at least once a week from other companies going, hey, we would like to talk to you. And I'm like, nah, fam, I got goals. Like I'm not moving on unless I accomplish those goals. And then maybe at that time I'll look at it. Right. But anyway, so that's something that's really cool about this industry too. So anyways, that's a perfect opportunity to mention LinkedIn. By the way, LinkedIn is not a sponsor, although I say it every podcast. LinkedIn, if you want to shoot me a check every month, I'll be okay with it. But I swear by LinkedIn because I've made so many connections through LinkedIn with different sales managers, branch managers, general managers of the company that I work for, as well as people that were previously with the company that are now no longer. They're with other companies now. I've even had them on my podcast. We've talked about stuff, but LinkedIn also has great resources to find a new career if that's what you're looking for, to find other jobs. It is frequented by recruiters. So if you make yourself known, you make your presence known, is a great way. Of course, in a professional way. Keep in mind, LinkedIn's not Facebook. Okay, don't be posting weird selfies and crazy things that you wouldn't want to post up in the break room at the office. Okay.
Definitely.
Nobody cares on LinkedIn about your TikTok video and how awesome you can dance. Keep that for Facebook. Okay. Anyways, people get mad at me when I say that too. They go, "Oh, were you the LinkedIn police?" I'm like, yeah, I am. I will report
I
you.
got a
No, just
badge.
yeah, that'd be super cool if they sent me a badge, actually. It'd be kind of cool. So yeah, dude, I mean, any questions for me?
I definitely have some. Let me think of them off the top of my head. All right, what's the most valuable trait you think you've gained from it and you think it takes to make it in sales industry? So like what trait has it given you, and what, it can be the same trait or it can be different, but what's like the best thing that you can say to put into sales?
So that's a good question, actually. I would say having a competitive drive is extremely important. If you ask anybody that I've worked with as a colleague, as someone that's like a coworker, same level as me, if your name is at the top of the board and my name's at the bottom of the board, I'm not stopping until my name's at the top of the board, right? Because like it's so weird too, because I talk about this all the time, where companies that give trophies, I'm all about that life. I do. My office is littered with like monthly awards, quarterly awards, above and beyond awards. Like, I mean, I have all my awards like sitting there. In fact, my sales manager gives out like a custom championship belt for the person that installs the most in the month. Okay, that's like a moving, cool. Yeah, like it's like a moving trophy. So if you fall off, somebody else installs more than you. You have to send it to that person, right? It's mine. I'm not giving it to anybody.
I'm not sending you my belt.
It's my belt. Like that kind of stuff motivates me, right? But I think where that comes from is because I competed so heavily in martial arts and I wanted to win trophies, like, dude, if you give me a trophy, I'll be your best friend. Like straight up, right? Because I love trophies. I love recognition, but it takes hard work to get there. Like any new rep that comes onto our team, I'll tell them, because once again, the freedom, right? Everybody wants to work less and make more. But in sales, you got to think of yourself as a hunter. And if you're a good hunter, you're going to be up before the sun's up, right? Because you're tracking your prey and you want to keep up with your prey. And if you come back to the village and you don't have food for your family, guess what? You don't eat. And eventually you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like,
You're gonna starve.
right. So I think the competitive nature to me, like that's what drives, that's my motivation, is to beat everybody else and to be number one. And that's the reason I also talk to people who are like President's Club achievers, or who are like the top of the upper echelon of my company. If you go on my YouTube channel, look up there's a YouTube episode I did with a guy named Bill Wise. He's a 19-time President's Club achiever with UniFirst. This dude is a savage. He's dude.
Yeah.
He gives so many great tips in that podcast. Like it's fantastic. So definitely listen to him. Bill, I know I'm talking about you again. I'm sorry. But I would say what sales brought out of me, I think it's just being able to understand what motivates somebody to do something, right? Because I've been into so many different sales meetings with prospects or with customers. There's probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of appointments I've been on at this point in my life, right? And it's funny to see what customers truly value and what it is that is going to get you the business, right? Like why would they trust you, right? So for example, I had an appointment with a Pepsi plant out here in Idaho Falls, and they were like really confident in their vendor. They've been with them for like 25 years or something crazy like that. So I didn't think I had a shot, right? And I kind of made the mistake of going, yeah, I don't have a shot. I'm probably just going to move on. And then I got COVID, and they thought they gave it to me. They didn't, but we stayed in contact all throughout the quarantine period because they quarantined at the same time. So we're just like joking around. We sent emails like, hey, how's everything going? You guys feeling okay? So I go back in with like a COVID care package. Like I put together like a Starbucks, like blueberry scone for both of them. And I had like a little Starbucks card. I gave it to them and just was joking around. And then they started asking me buying questions. Like, so if we were to go with you, how would this work? And an hour later, they're like, so do you have any questions for us? I'm like, yeah. I thought you guys were like married to my competitor. Like, I mean, my one question is there really a shot to earn your business here? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, cool. Right. So
yeah.
It's really cool to see different motivations of why people do what they do. Right. Now I've been into other places where their uniforms are all jacked up. There's a stain here. There's a rip all down their side. And I'm thinking, here we go. This is easy pickings. And they go, oh, we love our company. Our driver, we have barbecues with that guy every weekend. I'm like, the hell? But your uniform is shredded. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, so anyways, it makes no sense. But good question. So
I appreciate that. I mean, I'm trying to make sure I have everything, all my ducks in order before I even get on with the company, you know?
Yeah.
Because as great as it sounds, you know, I still have other responsibilities, you know. As much as I don't have too many, I still have, you know, car payment and stuff like that. So
sure.
I gotta be wary of the opportunities I jump at.
Well, I'll tell you this, is that there's some people out there that they may have done sales at one point in their life and just had a bad experience. And what they're going to tell you is, go get something more stable, right? because
Yeah.
they want to play it safe. They want that security. And for them, it makes sense. Okay. Because they don't have the personality that I have or that somebody else that is good at sales has to go out there and make things happen, make opportunities happen. Like, so like I have a mortgage. Okay. I have 2 car payments now. That's what having more kids does to you. You gotta get a bigger car, so you gotta have more car payments. Anyways, I gotta pay
And
insurance
more
on.
car payments.
Yep, exactly. Like I have to pay insurance on both those vehicles. I pay for 2 cell phone plans, right? Food, gas, waste for the garbage people, water, and then a whole bunch of energy drinks.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
my wife doesn't work. And it's not because I don't want her to work or because she can't work. It's just because that was kind of the philosophy we had when we got married. Is I was like, as long as you're with me, I'm going to work as hard as I can to ensure that you don't ever have to work. If you want to stay home, raise the
Yeah.
kids, that's up to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've done all of that with a sales career. So it's possible. You can do it. And there's people that make way more money than me. I mean, way more. Even within this company that I work for, is they make a ton of money. I mean, it's crazy the potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the reason I like it, is because if you're at a desk job, no offense, people that work a desk job, if you do that, there's a need for it. Somebody needs you to be there, right? But if you have a desk job, that's all you do, and you collect the same check every single 2 weeks or every single month or however you get paid, there's really no incentive for you to work harder.
Yeah.
Right? Except for a raise, which can only happen maybe once every year, maybe, right? Whereas if you're
lucky.
Yeah, whereas if you're in sales and everybody else is working from 8 to 5, or let's be honest, 8 to 4:30, right? But you're getting up at 5 a.m., you're sending out emails, you're following up with prospects by 7 o'clock, where you've already had your breakfast, you're good to go, you're in your sales meeting at 8 o'clock, you've already sent out 20 emails to prospects, to your biggest prospects, and then you go from there to your territory and you say to yourself, I'm going to hit 10 doors before lunch, I'm going to hit 10 doors after lunch. That's 20 activities. And on top of that, you're also going to run all of your appointments and you're going to be closing down deals. Guess who's going to make the money? You do, right? And then when 5 o'clock rolls around, make 10 more calls after 5 o'clock, because guess who goes home at 5 o'clock?
Everybody else.
Everybody else. Guess who stays, though? Business owners and the people that you want to get in touch with, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So then, I mean, there's been days, and Elise will tell you this if you ever talk to her. There's been days where literally I've been up at 5 a.m. I've driven from Plumas Lake, California to Placerville, California, to go run an appointment at 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get home till maybe 8 o'clock because I have another appointment at 5:30 that went 2 hours because I had to sign them up. Right?
Yeah.
That's the sacrifice in sales. And that's something I learned too is, dude, like however big your sacrifice is going to be, that's going to directly weigh what your accomplishments are going to be too. Right? Are you willing to sacrifice going out to the bar, having a drink with your friend? Are you willing to sacrifice a social gathering because you have a customer that says, yeah, I want to buy from you. When can you be here? Right now. You stop what you're doing, go sign them up, good to go, come back, keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely. That's the one thing that, going back to what you said, I think is my main advantage. I guess an advantage would be is I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
Like there's not a game, you can even ask my mom. I hate losing, even in spoons. I get mad. And so, going out there with my friends, and I was talking about this with the older guys that are in the company, is we are going to, and they already do this, we're going to set up like little competitions like every week or every few weeks, where like if you're at the top or whoever's in second has to do this, third has to do this, fourth has to do this,
Mm-hmm.
And I know that those are things that would push me over the edge
Yep.
because more than anything on earth, I hate losing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even just in my mind, I don't know if this sounds bad, so you can tell me, but even just making less money than my friends at the end in a way would feel like a loss to me, like
Sure.
I would feel like, did I not work hard enough? Like they came out on top and I'm just kind of down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't sound bad at all. Because like that's something like when my buddy was telling me like what his commission check was, I was like, bro, I gotta hang up with you because I gotta go back to work like right now. Right.
Yeah.
Because I want to be number one. And it's crazy because there's so many people that are so successful with sales that also have that mindset. And that's the thing about tying everything back in to your career with basketball, right? Is what made you a good player was you trained harder, you trained longer, you practiced more than everybody else on the team, and probably the majority of people that were playing against you, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dad told me one time, he said, this is back when I wanted to be a state champion for Taekwondo, right? And he said the same thing that the coach in Miracle says to his team, right before they start training for the Olympics. He says, when you get to national championships or world championships, you may not be the best fighter there, but always make dang sure that you're the best conditioned fighter there. So
Mm-hmm.
what he did, and I tell the story all the time, what he did was he put me in the truck and he said, okay, we're going to drive around. This is back before GPS. Like I couldn't like look at how far we'd driven. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive this route. It was down, I don't know if you know Antelope very well. It was down Watt Avenue. You turn right on PFE, turn right on Alberta, turn right on Woodlarga, and then you come back on Watt Avenue, you come back home. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I know.
he said, if you want me to pay for all these tournaments and stuff that you're going to, because I was young, I wasn't going to pay for it myself. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, he goes, you need to run this route every day. I was like, how far is it? He's like, I don't worry about it. It's like 4 miles. I was like, 4 miles? Okay. So I grabbed my CD player, right? Had to make sure to hold it like this to make sure it didn't skip. Okay, I'm aging myself right now. Don't be fooled by the gray hair. I'm not that old. Okay. But I had the CD player.
I was gonna say, spoiler alerts, man. You can't be giving away your age like that.
But like I had the CD player, it had AC/DC in there, right? And that was the way that I would time how fast I was doing it, because I would start from song 1, which was Hell's Bells, and I would end up all the way back to my house by, I think it was Thunderstruck, I want to say, right? But as I continued to do it, I started to get faster. It started to become easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now fast forward 2005, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 5 state championships in Taekwondo, right? Consecutively. But then from there, like one day I actually drove the route because I was curious about how far it was. It was 8 miles, bro. He made me run 8 miles. He told me it was 4.
It's the dad trick for sure.
Right.
I like it.
Right. But it's the same thing in sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
People look at me weird because I'll walk down the street. Like I'll make a cold call. I'll come out of that building, and as I'm walking down the street, you'll see me going, like I'm talking to myself because I'm practicing what I'm going to say before I walk into the next building.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People look at me like, what's he doing? He's crazy. Dude, I'll be vacuuming the house. Elise makes fun of me for this. Like I'll vacuum the house, and I'll be going, right? She can't hear me.
Little deal.
Yeah. And then when I turn it off, she goes, so did you close them? Did you close them? I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes. Whatever.
Yeah. So be as obsessed with this as you were with basketball. And I promise you, dude, you're going to make good money, right? You're going to be very successful. I have all the faith in the world in you. I think you're going to be amazing.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. If there's nothing else, we'll close out the podcast. Do you have any other questions?
Not off the top of my head. I know I got your number, so I can always call you.
Absolutely. Yeah, give me a call. Let me know. Hit me up. I'm happy to give you some advice. One thing I want to do too is after this experience of yours, I want to have you back on my podcast again, because I want to talk about what you learned, what your successes were, what some of your failures were, because you will face a lot of failure. It's just part.
Oh yeah.
It's just part of it, right? You don't have to tell me how much money you made. Kind of a tacky topic to talk about, okay? But if you show up in like a nice shirt, you got like a.
If I have a three-piece suit on after having this Nautica button-up, you'll know.
You got like an Armani suit and a Rolex, freaking Ray-Bans on. You're like, listen, cuz I made so much money, right?
I'm feeling like the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
You're like car payments. Those are for peasants.
I remember my first car payments.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Well, anyways, man, let's give a quick outro. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Stop Interviewing and Start Selling. I'm your host, Philip Meyer. This is Julian McFarland. Julian, if you don't have a LinkedIn page, go on LinkedIn tonight. Make it up. If you want to copy mine, just go on there, look at mine, and then just kind of copy that. Reach out to every person you can, make a connection. If you guys find Julian on LinkedIn, make a connection with him. I'm telling you guys, he's going to be a superstar. As long as he continues in the career of sales. If you guys want to hire him, hit him up, let him know.
Let me know.
Just remember,
hungry.
Just remember, the first offer you give him, he's not going to accept it, because I'm going to coach him to negotiate his salary, just like a professional sales athlete that he is going to be once I'm done with him.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And tune in next week. I will have other guests on. We're kind of going back and forth on scheduling, and I apologize about the absence for the whole COVID thing. I wasn't able to post as many podcasts as I used to before. This long form format is a lot more valuable than the short little funny videos I make. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.